Well, Chris, the result on Tuesday felt quite deflating, both for you and the players. Have you been able in training since to focus on the positives? Because there were a lot of positives.
Yeah, obviously we don't like losing games of football. That's for sure. And there's enough chances to win the game many times over. But in this game, you got to move on quick. We've had a little chat about where we conceded and how we conceded, and also about our chances, which we're creating. So yeah, we've tried to box that off, and now we're focusing on the weekend's game.
And even though you did lose the game, there was a nice reception from the fans. It does seem that they're really enjoying watching the type of football that you're playing.
No, the fans have been brilliant. The fans are, they're great, and I thank them so much for that. No doubt about it. We just want to give them a reward for their support, and the lads also want that. So we've been quite serious with the work this since the game, just to focus on what we can do next, and the only thing we can do next is train well and then try and win a game of football.
In terms of your squad, have you got any sort of updates? How's Sam Pearson doing? And is Richards Everton going to be in with a shot for this weekend?
No decision yet on the latter, Ben Richards Everton, but it's not as bad as first thought or feared. Sorry, so we're pleased about that. And also with Sam, we're just taking it day by day. It's one way. Took a few bumps on Tuesday for sure, but he's a resilient a lad and robust as you have to be. So, we're hopeful that he comes through, and the same with Ben.
And it's such a physical league, isn't it? Is that really important that you manage those young players who come from the clubs like Bristol City?
Yeah, definitely. This is, they've got to learn on the job very quickly, haven't they? And for Sam, he will, because of the type of player he is, he will get that type of aggression against him. But I thought he handled it really well. I thought that he looked robust. He looked like he was able to cope with the physicality. But as you rightly say, it's games in quick succession where the tempo's high, the sort of his stats are high as well. His running stats of his output. So, what we don't want to do is we don't want to lose him for weeks on end. So there is definitely a balance. And the same with a few of our lads coming back from injury as well. Lawson as well. That's one where, again, we've got to make a decision on that. You've got to almost bed them back in gently.
And we spoke about the missed chances on Tuesday's game and the opening three games in general. You have got Ollie Holbert in your squad. Yeah. He's not been making the squad. Is he working hard to sort of show what he can do?
Yeah, no, Ollie's, for different reasons, just had a slight problem injury-wise that's just hampering him a little bit. So we've got to get to the bottom of that and work out why it's happening. And it, it may be a decision we've got to make on that regarding Ollie. Trains well, but just has a slight problem in games. So we've got to get to the bottom of it for him. But as I say, he's chomping at the bit. But at the moment, just in certain circumstances, his body's letting him down, which he can't help, which is why he's not been involved as much.
And you have scored in every game so far, which is a positive. But are you hoping to add a little bit more up front?
Yes, we are. Again, speaking to several people at the moment, we've got. Listen, regardless of who we get in, we've got enough in the building to finish chances, and the lads are working hard to change that. We probably had, I'd say, 8 very good chances. They had 3 shots on goal and scored 2. I think we had, it was double figures plus and 8 on target. So the lads know, we're all in this together. Though it's not a case of strikers, it's a case of central defenders from corners, midfielders going through, wingers. Everyone's got to chip in with goals, that's for sure. And so it's not through a lack of effort, but it's just maybe one more second of calmness in front of goal just to make sure. And that's, as I say, that's what we've been working on this week.
You have really got that, haven't you, with Jamie Record, an experienced player, not an attacking position. He's got 2 goals already.
I know. It's. I did say to him this morning, how many goals you scored in your career, and he started laughing. I've turned him into some sort of goal scoring, player. But he's enjoying the fact that he knows he can play in several positions, and he will do that with us. He has looked dangerous in all of the games. I seem to remember a header he could have scored in a couple of games as well. So he's been a real plus. The lads that have signed are enjoying the football. As I say, we just need to knit these things together, cut out these individual mistakes that are unfortunately happening. And when you're on top, we all know, don't we? We've seen enough football over the years to know that if you don't score when you're on top, you're always susceptible to counter-attacks or conceding. And that's what we've got to eradicate. When we're on top in games, when we're getting chances, we've got to take the lead, and we've got to hold on to it.
And turning attention to Altrincham, they've turned full time this year. I mean, that in itself showcases the standard of this league, doesn't it?
Sorry, Sharon, I missed that last bit. Sorry.
I was just saying they turned full time this year, Altrincham, and that just sums up how they've got to get with the standard of this division. It's so high across the board, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And they're another good side, well organised. There's no doubt about it. Watched the first 3 games, should I say. Got some capable, talented footballers, but it is a big challenge, obviously, for a club transitioning. That's for sure. And we're on. We've had different histories, but we're in the same league, and we've got to take everyone and give them a fair bit of respect and organise ourselves to play against them. But as I say, when we concentrate on ourselves, when we look and we play our game, we're a very good side. I just want these small details ironing out, where when you're on top, you've got to be aware all the time of the dangers of a counter-attack or one long ball. And those have been the messages since the game on Tuesday.
And they're also without a win, of course. Is it about imposing yourselves early on the game? Because you have started quite brightly in the opening 3 games.
Yeah, we have. We've started well. Could have taken the lead in all of them very quickly. So that remains the focus for sure. And if the chances come and go, we've got to be resilient and say, okay, well, we get a result. And again, it's something that we've all raised as a group, as a collective spirit within that set of players that are determined to iron out these issues. If I was sat here and we weren't creating, I'd be frustrated, annoyed, disappointed, whatever adjective you want to use. I'm seeing a lot of positives, but we've got to turn it into wins, and we've got to do that quickly.
Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Morning, Chris, or even afternoon, I suppose. By now,
sorry. Yeah, well, it is afternoon. I've delayed you, so my apologies.
That's okay, no worries. You said in your post-match interview after the Barnet game that you were giving the players all the backing you could. Do you feel that the way that they're performing for you shows how they appreciate that, and that that you're all in it together?
Yeah, it's a good point. I do, but that at some point's got to manifest itself into results, hasn't it? And we know that we came off the back of a result on Saturday against a team that I highly fancied, and it should have given us a kickstart. And realistically, it all but scoring those goals, it would have done. And you go into that home game, you've won it. Didn't happen. I did reiterate to the boys after the game, listen, I know how much you're giving me, but we just need these 2 elements. We need that ruthlessness where if you're going through, you've got to do what you do in training, whether it's firing it across the keeper, whether it's keeping a level head, or whether it's that final pass. And then always on the turnaround, know that there's danger. So yes, we're all without a shadow of a doubt on the same page, but it's a competitive game, this game of football, and that's why I've got a squad. There'll be some tired bodies, and I'm thinking about how many games they've been played. You know, it's essentially going to be 3 games in a week, so I'll have to think about the players in the squad, and I'll have to think about potential changes.
But it must be a fairly fine line. I mean, if you're creating the number of chances that you appeared to on Tuesday night, you know, it's only that element of luck that possibly that's turning those you know, into goals, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, no, it's right. It's right. It's you can be knee jerk, can't you? Exactly, and you can search for things that aren't there. Essentially, it's a whole of chances that we haven't taken, and then it's a small lapse of concentration. But small lapses at any level kill you, and that's what we've got to stop. So we've got to be mindful that forget missing chances. If you don't miss chance, if you don't score, you know you've got to come out with boring 0-0s, and that's the way it is, because the teams have been in and done well in. That's what we've done. We've been resilient all the way through pre-season. We perhaps had that resilience and weren't creating as many. We seem to have shifted a little bit, and we can't stop creating chances. But I want that resilience back. And as I say, it's another hard shift, without shadow of a doubt. This morning, and we've had a good chat about it and a good think about it yesterday, as to how we get better together. And no better thing in football than the next game. So I'd rather have games thick and fast.
There were a few mentions about the standard of the officials on Tuesday night, and I'm not expecting you to make any comments in particular, because obviously we all know the FA get a bit funny about these sort of situations. But it must be frustrating when, you know, you get these dodgy decisions, because at the end of the day, you know, they can affect your job. And I think, you know, they don't seem to realise that.
No, they can, and that's probably the point where, at times, managers, coaches, fans, we all may feel like we're so frustrated that it boils over, and I've got to temper that with the fact that, listen, we know how hard the job is. There's no getting away from it at any level. This is a level where some officials are bedding themselves into that career, which makes it even more difficult and pressurized for them. But when my job is to win games, when the players are looking for contracts, when there's a lot on the line, you want the obvious ones given. You want the obvious decisions, that the shirt pulls, the ball going out of play, the basics done right, and that's all I ask for. I still went into the referee's room after the game and shook everyone's hand, because that's what a man should do. But I do ask for a consistency from the off. But yeah, I can't say a lot more, AD, because, as I say, I don't want to cross the line. I know how. No. I know it's a hard job for them. I get that, but we've got to make sure we put these games out of sight, and then we don't have to worry about some of the decisions that are being made.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, look at it like this: they can't even get it right with VAR in the Premier League, so I shouldn't worry too much about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, we haven't got the luxury of that, have we? No. It's a high pressurized role for any of the officials. I get that, and we've got to understand that. But yeah, if you take your chances in a game, probably that doesn't become as important. And I have to say that to myself, because there's no one more rated at times than me.
No, that's a very good point. You've brought in, is it Jimmy Torre? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Jimmy Torre. Yeah.
And Alfie Pond. Can you just tell us a little bit about them too? You know, what you feel they bring to the club?
Yeah, Jimmy's obviously produced at, you know, several clubs, National League and EFL. He's been in a period where he's been looking for EFL clubs, and he's probably lost a little bit of fitness. And so we're the club that he's chosen to sign for. It's a deal that suits both parties at the moment. And I think once we get him up to full speed, he'll be a very dangerous player for us. He's not far off, but for lots of players that have gone through this summer, where their agents are speaking to a lot of clubs, they lose fitness because they haven't been training to this standard. And so we need him to play catch up pretty quickly, but he's shown glimpses of what he can do. And I want that player. So we've got to make sure we get him to full fitness as quickly as possible for us. And for Alfie, lots of Premier League clubs are looking at this lad. He's a very competent defender. Exeter think highly of him, and he's with us, and he's giving good competition for places. Definitely, he's given me a lot to think about with his performances and his standard of training. So it's getting more and more competitive, this squad, but that's what we need, isn't it? We don't want players comfortable in their positions. We want people fighting for places, and they've got to show that in training. You're not just turning up to sort of train and not give everything, because that's part of this game. You've got to train well.
Jimmy Torre, any relation or not?
No.
Pure coincidence.
No.
Right.
Let's hope he has the attributes that they do have, and I think he's got some. He's definitely got a winning mentality, and he wants to affect the game for sure. But as I say, he just needs a little bit more, because he's playing catch up. It's so hard for a pro footballer when you've sort of been in that waiting phase, and it's difficult to catch up, because our boys have been hard at it for 6 weeks, and he comes into it definitely playing catch up a little bit.
Yeah. Well, look, long trip on Saturday. I suppose you could call it one of these northern powerhouse teams, Altrincham. I mean, they're quite a strong side, aren't they? What are you expecting from them?
Yeah, expecting a footballing side. They try and play for sure. They've got some good attacking threats. They have transitioned, so it's one where it is different for them, because it's a different type of recruiting, isn't it? Where players have had jobs, and then they're doing football and jobs, and then they're becoming full-time footballers. A lot were anyway. Don't get me wrong, and at that club, but I've got to focus on us. I know we always look at the opposition, we look at the strengths and weaknesses, but we've got to look at our football club and what we can do. And I think in these first 3 games, when we've concentrated on ourselves, we've looked a good side, and we'll continue to do that. But we've just got to score when we're on top, and we've got to iron out these few chances. If a team has 3 chances, they can score 3 goals. They had 3 shots on goal and scored 2, and we could have had that game out of sight in the first 5 minutes, never mind the first 10. So we've got a big focus on ourselves, AD, for sure. But we know we're playing against, every team in the National League is a competent, good side. We all know that, don't we? There's no non-professional outfits anymore. They're all very good players. We've got to be on our mettle from the first whistle.
Well, one small point on do you have to rely on just video clips and stuff when it comes to looking at the opposition, or do you actually have a full-time coach or scout that's going and checking out these teams?
No, we look at, all managers and coaches look at Y-Scout and Huddle, and then we also mix it with somebody going to see them live. So it's a little bit of both. It's the old school handwritten report, and it's also what we see on Y-Scout. The platforms that most clubs have now to look at analysis of every player and every league and every team is very good. So we have to do that. I suppose the devil in the detail is how far do you go to that with the players. You don't want to give them an overload of information, but whether it's clubs in the Premier League or us in the National League, you've got to show strengths and weaknesses of the opposition. And then you've got to work out on the training ground and try and get the best out of the players and do what they're good at. Try and get the best out of these players to show what they can do. And what I'd say to them is, now we just want them to deliver. We want these chances taken, and we want these concentration levels high on any ball turnaround. And that's a big focus this week.
Well, it sounds like you've got the focus spot on, Chris. So best of luck on Saturday. Long trip, I know, but just bring back the points, sir. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the support. Much appreciated.